third game and hopefully maybe the games afterwards as well.
Yeah, and in the end, GAM is the team everyone wanted to see from the VCS and the international stage. We haven't seen any VCS teams at Worlds for such a long time, more than 1,050 days, as you can see. But GAM really, they destroyed the spring split, and everyone was looking ahead to the summer and already said, okay, GAM is a shoe-in for Worlds. Then they lost the semifinal, and today they have found yet another gear to destroy Saigon Buffalo. It's the last chance for Saigon Buffalo to come back. They have never actually lost 0-3 to GAM, always won at least one game, even in GAM's most dominant moments, even in spring split. They were able to take a game off GAM in the final, so it would be a huge surprise to see them fall 0-3. They've been a really resilient team in terms of mental edge, and they have drafted quite a different team for the third game. So if they want any chance of actually lifting that shield, they have to start now with this draft.
And I think you put it my favorite way possible. They drafted the please carry us Shogun draft, where Shogun gets one of these hypermobile type ADCs. My preference is Sivir. It gave him literally 11 CS a minute. He was highest damage share on in terms of ADCs on that pick. It's my favorite to watch him play, and I'm upset that in crunch time it's not being brought out for whatever reason from the side of Saigon Buffalo. And I'm hoping eventually that changes if the series were to continue. But at minimum, they understand where some of the strength lies. They say, "Hey, Shogun, get some stuff done. You can scale. We'll buy you time." That type of thing. Which means that now, I think more than ever, some of these lanes, but especially top lane, where Hosmet is struggling all day, really need to step up to make sure the game is not lost before they get to that phase.
With a return to perhaps a more, as you said, carry a Shogun comp, I do need to look at BJ because he's been so important for this team. He is on a more supportive pick this time. But nevertheless, we need BJ and the boys to be able to get SGB into another match. They need to rally around their king and keep this one going.
Yeah, and Rebel already teased the top lane matchup. It has been hugely important so far today, with Hosmet just not really standing up to Kiaya in any way possible. And one of the aspects has been wave control, wave management from Kiaya being superb in both of the first two games, where he has constantly put Hosmet into a situation where Hosmet overextended. It's very different now in this game, where Kiaya has constant push, with Levi playing towards the top side and now able to invade the blue buff as well. This is now a completely different setup for GAM, where they try to play aggressively on the top side instead of trying to bait Hosmet into the gank.
Cool. Action.
There's a
Levi's
fight
got support,
brewing.
but Froggy's here first.
He is. Can they pinch the trap? Froggy moving in, lands the chains. Cardi Valkyrieing over, but it's already a kill onto Levi. Lovely stuff from BJ as well. And that's why he's the shark. As they get 2 kills immediately. Now they're moving forward. Cardi will get locked up by the chains. I don't think they have the lockdown. Knock up. There it is. SGB are in.
They have some fight left in them. It's on.
That's everything that we could have wanted from the beginning of this game, too. I don't know how it was. I was about to make a mention of it. How in the world was BJ this far behind in his pathing compared to Levi? Because Levi had already gone through most of his jungle, got the crab, and also invaded for the blue to end up there off the ward that got placed by Kadi. But they get punished for it because multiple members, especially right there, Froggy, jumping off the wave, immediately dumping a wave to ensure that he's at this fight first.
Yeah, think about the first game where this... Oh, no time for that. Picture-in-picture, a big fight in bot lane. We need to look at it.
Huge fight coming in as Taki's already gone down. Shogun segmented off, but has the E. Parkour's out. GAM, not one to go down without a fight, as they answer back very, very quickly.
That's unfortunate timing here for the teams. We don't actually get to see the invade again, but it is quite interesting to think about this series as the tale of invades going wrong, because the first game, Saigon Buffalo tried this invade on blue buff, and BJ misplayed it pretty badly. They got caught as we have another look at this bot lane fight. B just flashing on top of Kataki, and the perfect hook. B just casually smurfing in bot lane. We know that from him, and Taki
pretty cracked
on the receiving end.
Listen, right? Our supports are still getting used to Enchanter meta. They're not used to this. Even Taki has to figure out how to play the Lulu at some point, and so he brings it out for this game. Something I also wanted to mention, but he's a lot more comfortable. Also loved Levi's positioning there, because again, if you try to slide over the wall, you end up catching out Shogun, and then Shogun's in a really bad space, probably has to burn summoner spells as well. Instead, just opts for the 1 kill onto Taki, and they're able to at least respawn on the map somewhere.
Controlling Levi is key to winning against GAM. BJ did this amazingly, and the whole of SGB actually. Froggy was involved as well. In the first series they played against each other. So far, Levi has been the better jungler, but here it might be a different approach in this game.
Oh, there it is. A stolen Nautilus ult getting value. They take down Levi. BJ low, but Cardi zoned. And Saigon Buffalo comes storming back. That extended break might be one of the most game-changing things in the VCS.
It's absolutely absurd. Not to mention, I think it's a combination of things. It gives you a chance to really recollect yourself, come up with new strategies, and something that was working, at least in the previous game, was that mid lane kind of focus, playing around Froggy on the Galio, and maybe they noticed that. They say, hey, if we put Kadi in the dirt a little bit, game 1 was great on the rise, if you put pressure on him, he's going to fold a little bit, and then they're like, okay, let's get Galio there. And I was upset about that viscerally outside of chat, as Taki might be in trouble again.
Yeah, he does land a good glitter lance, getting that double slow. Shogun stepping forward, being a little bit of bait there, and Taki just about survives.
I think GAM's bot lane needs to be careful though, because if they do this into level 6 of Shogun and Taki, that's very diluted. That's one of the strongest 2v2 combinations level 6, especially into something that is kind of front-loaded, as Shogun is now called
needs
out.
to get a good E.
Flat.
Oh, Levi predicts the E, but it never comes out. Now with BJ joining the fray, Shogun should be able to get away. Poppycopter is lovely. Shogun with a lovely flash as well. But Carti joins the fray, and it's going to be BJ dying for the sins of his bot lane.
You shut down Froggy.
Froggy comes on in, steals a Sejuani, who'll get one. He just comes in, grubs it at the end. Num, 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 num. Few kills for Froggy as this Silas gets stronger and stronger.
Does have flash, but he doesn't want to continue the fight, so does he? He comes back over the wall.
Ooh, you know he wants it.
Oh, no, Shogun!
Target acquired. Launching the rockets.
Just back, man. Like, you're grading the wave so heavily right here. Just leave.
So
you have
greedy.
no health remaining.
So greedy.
Oh, it really was. And it's such an insane play, because we don't see this strategy super often from Saigon, but when it pops out, it's so, like, pivotal to them, which is, Saigon is here, they're getting rushed on bottom side, and who is it that comes to save the day? It's Froggy. His impact on the map is always felt in time of need, somehow like a bat signal going out, and you can see him, he gets responded to, BJ goes down, but he's here and nearly makes a massive play happen to be able to revert everything that had just occurred for the side of GAM. But Shogun, just leave! Why? You're playing against Sivir. You're playing against Corki. They can hit you from a million miles away. Leave!
The shield runs out. I think, the shield ran out a few seconds before, so we can't even just put it on the shield being slightly mistimed.
No,
Nope, it was just Shogun
screwed it up.
overextending. Just agreed. I also really want to shout at Carti for that movement, because we're looking at Silas and Corki, and everyone knows Corki's gonna come online later on. He's gonna be amazing in the late game team fights, but usually the first 20 minutes you don't ever want to look at Corki because he's useless. Not in this case. Carti was actually there first, before Froggy even arrived, and he got 2 kills away from that. So this Corki is now well and truly online, ready to scale, and Carti is ready for his 5th title as a mid laner, the most of any mid laner ever in VCS history, only one behind Levi.
Shogun locked up, there's the ult. Taki still only level 5, so no wild growth will come into this one. Needs that ultimate to get the big power spike. Taki shields. Oh, but B! Once again showing why we rate him so highly.
And it is B who is smurfing inside of this laning phase. It's so rare that we see Shogun and Taki fall during the laning phase, all split, especially the back half of the split. They have been electrifying for this team, and yet it is B who is stepping up now in this game, in this last match that GAM needs in order to qualify for World's group stage. And his presence has been such an insane addition to this squad. Think about what this team was before B joined and how much they actually struggled at the beginning of the split, falling to 7th place at one point before he re-entered the lineup, and this is the guy that's winning them a championship now.
Yeah, and he went back to the Nautilus priority. He actually, during the course of the split, he went to roaming Yumi. We saw that earlier on. We were amazed by it. But in the end, B's most comfortable champion, probably his best champion, is the Nautilus. We all like to hate on Nautilus, but if you can do stuff like that, if you can lock down the Zeri on the enemy team, like he has been doing in this game, and get his team back after an 0-3 start on the top side, finally Saigon Buffalo's top side has been able to stand up to GAM's. And they expect their bot lane to win. The bot lane has been the best part of this team. But now in this very important Game 3, suddenly GAM's bot lane is the one coming out on top with a double solo kills in the bot side.
And oh my word. This game is already a bloodbath. A bit of a swap though, as you alluded to. This time the top lane and the top side going well for SGB. While it's the bottom lane that's become a problem. Something SGB they have forgotten how to deal with how dominant Shogun has been. Speaking of Shogun, needs to be very careful as there's an angry squad of Marines ready to drop in on his position. He gets the hell out of there.
It's such an important thing to think about how this team has operated over the last couple of splits, because there was a time and a place where it wasn't always that, like, you know, we've always sung the praises of Taki. We've always thought that Shogun was a good player, but it hasn't always been the case that they've been this dominant. And Hosmet has stood up in those moments, as has Froggy in the right situation, as they've got 4 for Kiaya.
They're bringing him up here. They know that Kiaya is a raid boss, and they need the tank DPS and the healer to take that one down. They do get it, but it's at a heavy price as Style richer and richer. This Sivir is well and truly in the Gucci game.
GAM is outplaying Saigon Buffalo around the map so heavily. Kiaya actually spotted this gank as well. He knew he was probably doomed, but he ulted very early. He cleared the wave, so it took such a long time to actually set up this dive. Saigon Buffalo had to call not only one member, not 2. They had to call 3 extra members to dive him. And yes, they get out with a kill and the first tower, but it's still on a hefty, hefty cost. Their bot lane is shut out of this game, and they are supposed to be the main carries later on. They need to find a way to funnel some gold onto Shogun.
Oh no! B again! They're heat seeking! He's cheating!
There's just no response.
Admin, he's doing
to
it sideways.
I don't know. Like, this is insane. Like, B is absolutely smurfing with this Nautilus in this bottom lane, just cannot do anything about it. It feels like Shogun and Taki falling this far behind is just yielding so much to Style, and now Style is the one who's going to stand up for GAM. Yes, you've lost the rest of the map. You're tied in gold right now, but so much in terms of plates, in terms of early gold, has gone just onto the Sivir, which is not where you want to be. You want to talk about how Shogun has stepped up. Style stepped up big for GAM over the last year as well, especially like in spring, but in summer has also been a massive contributor in ways that previous. You know, when we talk about Levi not having the greatest split, you know, Kadi, Kiaya being a little bit quiet during the split as well, they're allowed to do that because Style and B have stepped up so big, and this is his chance to show it.
Yeah, and we talked about the era of Levi and Kiaya. 7 finals in a row. Kati came in. He is now on 4. He has 4 final wins already, more than Kiaya actually. But Style has changed this team quite a lot. Think back to 2019, Carrix, when we had to cast and watch Zin in bot lane, the tape over the bot lane. But now we have to focus on this dragon. It's a huge, crucial point in this game. Whoever wins this dragon has a good advantage.
Package is available, and it's a big one, as Cardi could change the course of the play. Froggy gets hooked B once again with the Heat Seekers, but this time he's got a Renekton ultimate to keep himself safe. Backs his way off. Cardi's already killed Shogun. In the front line is Husband. He's a big lad, has a lot of healing. 1 for 0 at the moment. Make it 2 for 0. SGB, what have you done? This is shockingly coordinated. They lose everything. 2 kills and a dragon. And they don't even begin to formulate a response.
We've had some coordinated fights, and we've had some coordinated Corki ultimates, but that one right there was masterclass from Kadi, being able to use one of his favorite champions. Fight afterwards might start going awry.
Might try to get something done here as they move in, but Styles a big lad, and they just can't find him.
And today's final have been defined by GAM finding the important fights. Game 1, super close affair. GAM finds a fight in mid lane, 5 for 0. We've seen this so many times. Now, this was another crucial point in the game. Aatrox was so strong. Look at him. How many abilities did he tank? How much damage did he deal in the front line? Look at Hasmid. He's healing up again, but they just can't confirm the kill. They don't have an ADC at all, and then now Hasmid oversteps, crucially, into Kati. And Kati, he does not want to let this shield get away from him. The Corki was a question mark. He didn't look too great in the rest of players with it, but today, he's stepping up huge, and the top side of GAM finally under pressure in this game, but Kati, not so much. He is putting in the MVP-worthy performances.
And it's been crazy today also because so much of this team fighting that usually goes the way of Saigon is going against them. Right there was a bit of cowardice coming out from Shogun. Instead of stepping up into the pocket, trying to throw in damage with Aatrox in front of him, he slides over the wall to get away from the package damage that he might be pushed into and runs face first into Kati. He had no effect in that fight in the slightest, and that is not what Saigon needs. They need Shogun, the hard carry for this team, to really step up. I know he's behind in this game, but they gotta get him involved. They have to get him some gold, because otherwise, this is a really tough one for Saigon to try to pull back.
Even in the games where Saigon has been ahead in the mid game against GAM, they've struggled to close it out. Now they're behind in this game again. It's so easy to play GAM's composition as well, with so many ways to just start a fight, to play make. Some safe people like Kati as well. Oh, this is an aggression on Kati. If they shut him down, that's a lot of gold. They want this money.
Might try and take down Husmed with him, but I don't think he's got the power to do it. That is going to be a kill given over to the Aatrox. They get a tower as well. This is a good clapback here for SGB. They'll lose a bot lane tower, but they will get a charge onto the inhib tower. This is a good move out of them.
Okay. Now, it is a trade-off of potentially taking, I guess it's inhibitor tower, not inhibitor, that's going to go down necessarily. They trade off 2 towers for the one on the bottom side, but they're still putting the gold in the wrong place. Like, there is no gold of that went to Shogun. All of it went into, like, 3 members that were shared across everybody else, and Style is the one benefiting from the bottom side, and I really hate to say it, but Style on Sivir getting this gold is more valuable than 4 members on Saigon Buffalo. They have to do something, and I can appreciate that they're finding a place somewhere on the map, but I just don't think that's still a winning play for them, even though they got more.
I do like a lot of gold on Hasmid, who needs some confidence after the last 2 games where he's gotten clapped by Kiaya and Levi together, but even solo killed by Kiaya by his own overextension over and over again. Much better game, much better performance in general from Kiaya, from Hasmid. And the Aatrox, we've seen it carry some games, especially in mid-game team fights, so he should be able to get to 2 items for the next big dragon fight in 1.5 minutes. And then maybe it's Hasmid to carry Saigon Buffalo, the captain of the team, the longest-standing member, to carry them to a 4th game, to their chance at a reverse sweep, because he has to be. All the gold went to him early on. They dived Kiaya over and over again. They put so much attention on this Aatrox this time around. He has to deliver.
Another catch comes in. There's no counterplay here, and 5-0-4 is Styles' scoreline.
It feels like they haven't been able to figure out where to play on this map. Saigon Buffalo looking more lost today than we've seen them for, probably months at this point, given just how hard it is for them to come back in a game like this. And now Kiai is going to be able to push. Hasmid's getting enhanced by Taki. He wants to play here.
We'll be able to stop the tower going down. Again, this is a strong Aatrox. The issue is, what does Aatrox do against Sivir with Ghost?
Well, it kind of depends how Style wants to play the next fight. He definitely can kite the Aatrox effectively, but sometimes VCS teams like to over-index into diving, over-index into trying to chase down targets instead of kiting back. We've seen this multiple times already. GAM, usually the most disciplined team in our league when it comes to actually setting up the correct fights. So I'm fascinated to see if Kati and Style play it more aggressively or more defensively. Remember the last fight? Kati just dived in. He played Assassin Corki. This might be dangerous now. Against Shieldbow, against Lulu being a little bit higher level as well. If he does that again, I mean, he is on a lot of items, but if Kati dies early on, this could be a danger for the side of GAM.
SGB I think posted up at the Dragon.
I'm looking at this position. The biggest thing is BJ's ultimate has to be used effectively. If you can knock a member out of this fight before they can actually make an impact and you can win it ahead of time, that's how Saigon can try to grab the dragon. But being down 3 would put them in a near inescapable position in this game. They can't let this one leave.
Husmed uses the first proc of the Darkened Blade. He's hiding in the back of this pit. Froggy has a Nautilus ultimate. The Poppy Copter charges up to get knocked away. They immediately pull the trigger. This is how you do it. The Zeri is moving forward. Can they actually confirm the fight before the rest of GAM get here? So Husmed has the wings out, but he cannot heal. They are going forward into that simmer. You can't do it, Shogun.
It's beautifully played by Saigon Buffalo, but they're too far behind.
There's a hook coming in onto Froggy. He desperately goes onto the backside, but there's a teleport channeling. Carty's back. SGB, they're getting pincered in, and they're going to be taken down, or at least the dragon is. These two might get away, but I somehow doubt it. Carty, the raid boss, landing the big one. He heard the criticisms from us. Shogun goes down. Taki's just a little support. Cut the feed. This is horrible. And Saigon Buffalo are getting flattened.
They played it almost perfectly. Such good coordination. Absolutely. Just the patience with which they played this fight. Hasmed waited for his ultimate to trigger. He waited for BJ to fight the amazing ultimate. And it really looked like Saigon Buffalo's last hurrah in this series, but it seems like GAM is just overwhelming them with too much damage, with too much mobility. Carty used this package to get back into the fight. He didn't even use it to fight, and it's still enough. Froggy not tanky enough. Hasmed not tanky enough. And most importantly, Shogun doesn't have the damage.
Yeah, I mean, if Shogun's on even footing here, I could see what the attempt was, because he tries to dash forward. This is something I criticize people. Again, the double knockwave, the instant assassination on a target, there was so much that went well. Like you said, package gets burned. Right here, feels like the fight is dead for GAM. It feels like it's already been won. If Saigon turned for Dragon right now, they're fine. They should have the positioning to do that. But Shogun keeps walking forward because he's like, I can hunt, but you don't have damage. And that's what allows Cody to back out the side of the fight. That's what allows the rest of this team to kind of continue onto Froggy, who tries to assassinate Style. Like, everything here falls to pieces because multiple members of Saigon want bigger plays than what they can bite off. Bigger plays than they should be going for. If they had just taken the Dragon maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds prior, maybe they do lose multiple members, but at minimum the Dragon count is not completely out of control, and it means the GAM cannot force around Soul Point. But it's just not the case. And now Saigon, I mean, they're guaranteed to be fighting for this next Soul Point down some remarkable amount of gold. Hopefully they could find another miraculous fight to keep themselves in, but that felt like their best shot.
Yeah, and it just feels like today GAM's players are all zoned in. They're in the zone for the whole series. So many good mechanical plays. Carty has not blundered a little bit. Style's so strong today, much better than in their semi-final performance. And Saigon Buffalo's players, especially in this game, they found some really good plays. They've read the map correctly, but they're just getting outperformed in mechanics. Style with the amazing spell shield reaction. Once again, there's just nothing Saigon Buffalo can do against this overwhelming force that is this GAM lineup.
It's insane. Oh, here's the force.
They're gonna go for a fight. The Lulu already dead. Taki just cleaned up. I mean, this is just brutal. What do they even do? The tower's under threat. Husmed with a good start, landing all of these knockups. This is their chance. Froggy going onto the backside, but the Aatrox is already dead. The Renekton's not taking damage, and Shogun just doesn't have the damage. If this Zeri was any way strong, SGP get an ace.
Absolutely unrelenting from GAM, just going for fight after fight after fight, and Saigon Buffalo has no time to farm up to get in a stronger position. GAM this is VCS as we used to see it all the time. Focus on the mid game, just go for fight, and don't let the opponent team back into the game.
Man, Hosmed has been putting in a performance, but GAM is just too far ahead. That Aatrox, I feel like, dropped half the health bar off of every member of GAM before that fight even started. And yet, GAM are the ones that walk away because there's just no closing power on anything. Baron buff now in tow. This team's playing to win absolutely today. That they took that semifinals personally. They took everything personally up to this point. And it's been years now that GAM has been in winning mood, and it feels like, again, I said this when they lost last time, that it would feel completely disingenuous if they didn't end up making it to Worlds, where they qualified for Worlds, and they don't even want to stop there. They want to be the #1 representative for the VCS, as they've earned it. Since 2020, they have been the #1 team in the VCS for very good reason, and they're putting it on display, wanting to make sure that they clean up that spot right now.
And what a poetic irony it is that when Style first came into the league, he was actually pretty bad. We didn't like Style, but who was he playing for your way?
It was the Saigon or Dashing Buffaloes.
I think they were dashing at the time.
And he has grown so much as well. We've focused a lot on Shogun because he had an amazing player so far. But today, Style has showed up to contain Shogun. One of my main points of analysis was GAM needs to find a way to neutralize Shogun and Taki, because they have basically just 2v5'd the last time they met each other. And Style has done more than that. He has been the better ADC.
Fight brewing. The dragon is up. SGB, I feel like they can't give away Soul. And there's the Sejuani immediately. PJ will just go down. Can they trade it back onto Cardi? Or is he just a little bit too quick? He's got a GA, so the question doesn't even need to be asked. Husband desperately fights in the backline, but it's GAM just running them over. They pick up 3. They lose no one. They have a Baron buff, and they are walking down the mid lane. The base will be cracked. The inhibitor is next. It's Froggy and Taki, the 2 most distinct members of SGB, fighting for their lives. But no, it's Dynasties and Dystopia as GAM smash their way to this win. They run over the Buffalo.